Have you ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and wondered, where did all my money go? Or have you ever been afraid to buy something because you weren't entirely sure how much money was left in your checking account? Or even worse, have you ever had to charge a necessity like your rent because something came up earlier in the month and there just wasn't enough money to pay for it? Money is a necessity. With very few exceptions, we all need it for food, shelter, clothing, and fun. Before I got married, I was a compulsive saver. It was not a virtue. I was terrified. I was afraid that at some point I would need money and not have it, so I refused to buy anything I didn't absolutely need. Because of this, I did not have very much fun my first few years in college. Once I got married, my husband introduced me to the budget, and it changed the way I see money. Our budget helped my husband and I meld our spending styles, and we came up with something that really works for both of us. Today I'm going to talk to you about why you need to start a budget and why you need to do it now. A budget will help you increase your personal, marital, and financial happiness. These are all very entwined, and so I'm going to try and separate them out as best I can. First, let's talk about how a budget will increase your personal or your financial happiness. Almost any financial advisor will tell you that a good budget is the foundation to financial freedom. If you don't know what you have, don't know how much you make or how much you have to spend each month, you don't know what you can really afford. So first, a budget helps you know what you can really afford. For example, once you know what your budget is, you know exactly how much money you can make for car payments. So when you go to the dealership and the salesman tries to sell you upgrade you to a more expensive car and tell you, oh, it's only an extra $25 a month, you can be firm because you know how much money you have. A good example with this is that my husband recently joined the Navy, and each month we receive a basic allowance for housing. Last weekend we were apartment hunting, and because of our budget, we were able to find an apartment that came in with what we can really afford. Our budget helped us see that even though we received a certain amount as our housing allowance, we had other things to spend money on and couldn't spend the full amount on rent. Once you know what you can really afford, it helps you enjoy what you do buy because you know the money is there. You don't have to worry about something coming up. You do that by avoiding crises. A budget helps you do this. In an article for Moneying magazine, an online magazine, the author tells us that a budget helps you see trends and stop waste. For example, it can help you see that you are spending more on car repairs than it would really cost you to buy a new car. A budget also helps you save. The prophets have always counseled us to save for a rainy day. Most of us mean to, but we don't get around to it. With a budget, we are able to decide exactly how much money we want to save each month and put that money aside first. Once you have your financial house in order, you will be financially happier and your marriage will be happier as well. Money affects both spouses equally, so each spouse needs to be an equal partner in establishing the budget. Elder Marvin J. Ashton, in his famous talk, One for the Money, said that in the home, money management between husband and wife should be on an equal partnership basis, with both parties having a voice in decision and policy making. Peace, contentment, love, and security in the home are not possible when financial anxieties and bickering prevail. As both spouses commit and participate in setting their budget, there is an attitude and a feeling of love and trust because each spouse knows the other is looking out for their well-being. As well as we mentioned, budget helps you save and follow the prophet. As you do this, you become closer as you strive for a joint goal. You can save for your financial reserves, food storage, and also helps you save so you don't need to make large purchases on credit. As well, a budget helps to make hard decisions. For instance, how do you decide if both spouses need to work or if one can quit and stay home with your children? Making this decision on faith is wonderful, but it is better to make an informed choice. As you see your budget, you know exactly how much money you need to spend each month, and you can go to the Lord with an informed decision and study and prayer. Even if you're not married, a budget will help you be a better spouse. For instance, who would you rather marry? somebody that is thrifty and knows where their money goes and knows how much they have each month, or a spouse that doesn't run out of money but never is entirely sure where their money went. With a good marriage, your personal happiness will also be increased. A budget allows for personal freedom. Like me, once you know exactly how much money you have, you can enjoy spending what you have budgeted. I no longer have to stress when I decide I need a new pair of shoes because I know there is money in the budget for necessary clothing. It also helps increase your personal happiness by knowing that you are acting and not being acted upon. Elder Ashton also said in his talk that we must learn to manage our money before it manages us. Money can be a powerful tool, or it can crush you if it is not used properly. Now, establishing a budget is not time-consuming or difficult. First, you need to get your budget sheet. I've attached a few options. These are templates from Microsoft.com. They're just a starting point. You can either use these or just use them to see the categories. This helped me because it allowed me to remember things like auto insurance or homeowner's insurance that may not be paid each month. It also helps you to budget for things like Christmas presents and back-to-school shopping. Once you have your budget sheet, do a little guesswork. This helps you to just quantify your ideas and say what you think you spend each month. Once you have your ideas down, track your spending. Do this for a couple of weeks, preferably a month. I recommend that you input your numbers daily or at least weekly. Otherwise, it becomes a daunting task. When I say track your spending, I mean track everything. Track every iTunes purchase, every candy bar from a vending machine. Those purchases add up very quickly. On a side note, tracking your spending can help to curb impulse purchases. It makes you think twice when you have to be accountable for that candy bar and can help you not buy things you don't really need. Once you've tracked your spending, take a look at your actual numbers and use these to set a rough budget. Remember, when you set your budget, your expenses cannot be bigger than your income. In an article for Kiplinger.com, they recommend that you use this opportunity to plug holes. Find things that are unnecessary expenses and reallocate them for better purposes. For instance, you can decide to bring your lunch to work as leftovers instead of buying it for a couple of times each week. Then you can take the money saved and reallocate it towards savings or paying down debt. In another article, Kiplinger.com recommends that when you set your budget, set it for a few months at a time and adjust it as needed. Remember, a budget is a tool, it's a guide, and it should not dictate exactly what you spend. At the same time, you cannot ignore your budget. It does you no good to set a budget and not look at it again. So this has been a lot of information. Let's review quickly. A budget will help decrease your stress and make you happier. Financially, you'll be happier because you know exactly what you can afford and you can avoid crises. Your marriage will be happier as you increase unity as you follow the prophet and make well-informed financial decisions. Personal happiness will be increased with your newfound financial freedom and the satisfaction of knowing you are acting for yourself. In the pamphlet, All is Safely Gathered In, we are told, if you have paid off your debts and have a financial reserve, even though it be small, you and your family will feel more secure and enjoy greater peace in your hearts. A budget is a great way to start. As I said, I have attached a couple of templates. Take a look at these with your parents or your spouse. Look at them, talk them over, and get started on your own budget. I know as you do, you will feel peace and control over your finances.